Okay, now I want to walk you through how to set up Google Analytics and Facebook pixel tracking by using Google Tag Manager. I'm going to walk you through the steps. Step one, you're going to come into your Google Analytics account. So if this is all new to you, go and set up a Google Analytics account first. But don't worry about taking the code they give you and putting on your pages or anything they tell you to do. You're not going to need to do that. Google Tag Manager is going to handle this for you. Now, if you already have a Google Analytics account that you've been using, you can start using Google Tag Manager if you're not already using it. It'll save you a lot of time. So you can take your code and then you can change the Google Tag Manager tagging and then put it in the code of your pages and then let Google Tag Manager start managing this code. Otherwise, if you have it already set up, you don't want to mess with it, and you're going to add Facebook pixel tracking and other things, you're going to have to go into your HTML and add those other pieces of code into the top part of the header for each of those pages. But let's walk through what it takes to set up Google Analytics and this Facebook pixel tracking using Google Tag Manager, which is what I recommend you do. So once you create an account, you're going to come up here at the top in your Google Analytics account, you're going to click Admin. And what you'll see is the name of your account and then the name of the website. These are the first two default things that you create. I just called my account My Awesome Account, and I created my website that's called My Awesome Website. So underneath this drop down for property, once you select your website name, and there should be only one if you've just created the account, you're going to come down here to the third option that says tracking info, and it has this little .js thing next to it. So you click tracking info, it drops down a new set of options. The very first one says tracking code. You're going to click that. It's going to load a new page, and you can ignore everything on this page except for this right here. This is what we're looking for, tracking ID and this ID. So what you want to do is you want to copy and paste this UA dash da 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 da, copy that to a text file or to open a new email draft or whatever you need to do to copy and paste this somewhere. So copy this and paste it in a text file or some area we can get to it again, and that's step one. Step two now you probably remember when we were in Facebook under the ad creator, the ad manager, and we created that pixel. Remember this code right here that I asked you to copy and paste and put somewhere handy so you'll be able to use it later. Well, now's when we're getting ready to use it. I'm going to come back to this in just a second. Get this pixel code handy. This is step two to our process. Step three is you want to log into your new Google Tag Manager account. And when you do that, it's going to tell you add a new account. This is what happens the first time you go to set it up. So give an account name, My Awesome Company, whatever you want to call your account. Now it says right here, share data anonymously with Google and others. Yes or no, you can check this. And if you do the help thing, it says, hey, enable benchmarking by sharing your data in an anonymous form. Google will remove all identifiable da 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 da. Now most people really are like, no, I don't want to ever do that because of privacy. Let other people share their data. I actually always like to check this stuff with Google because I know that they're using this data in order to serve that relevant and engaged content in order to improve ads and other experiences. And if they have this data from my analytics and from what I'm doing, I know they're able to use that with everything else that I'm doing across their network. I like to check, yes, I want to share the data, even though it says it's anonymous. I believe they're able to track it back and do things at least internally. When they say it's anonymous, they're not going to share it with other companies and say, hey, this is what this site was doing. But I think they use it internally for stuff, and it can't hurt anyways. So after you do that, you're going to click continue, and you're going to set up a container. So your first container within Google Tag Manager, you're going to put in your website address. So let's just say www. My Awesome Website. This is just a bogus address. This doesn't even exist. And then you're going to click web, iOS, or Android. These are for mobile stuff. We'll talk about this later, but for now, let's just do web. This is for our website, and we're going to click create. And that gives you the terms of service, a lot like the long kind of iTunes things that nobody ever reads. Anyways, you can read that, and you click yes. And then it's going to set up this first initial container that you've created for that website. And what you're going to do is you're going to copy this code here that it's showing you, and you're going to paste this into the top area of your web pages, as it says immediately after the opening body tag. Now, this is some nerdy technical stuff. You may want to, pay someone, and I can make a little article on this on how we can just find an outsourcer to do this for literally probably $20. Some high school kid or anyone else that knows how to edit HTML that can go in and add this onto your pages for you. I've said it before, if you use WordPress or content management system, this can usually be dropped into one area of a header management area inside that content management system, and then it will just automatically add this at the top of the HTML in every page that you have. And this little bit of code is what's going to control the analytics, the tagging, the pixeling for us to do remarketing and everything else. Step 4 in our process, we're still logged into our Google Tag Manager account, and we see container not published. That's what we just created. That'll change once you take the code and put it on a web page and load a web page at least once so it can talk to Google servers. So that's going to change. Now, by the way, some of the things you see here, like Traffic Secrets Mail at Gmail, these are just kind of bogus addresses I'm setting up for these examples. Rather than show an account I already have set up with all kinds of stuff in it, which will confuse people, I'm creating a lot of this from scratch so people know how to set it up from the beginning, because some of these things will look different once things are set up. So we don't have any tags inside our container. That little special code that we just created that we're going to put on all of our web pages, it doesn't do anything right now because it doesn't have any tag controls inside it. So it's just going to load on those pages and it's going to talk to Google servers, but it doesn't know what to track. So we're going to change that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new tag. So you click New Tag, and then you'll see all these different products that are preset to work with this system. And there's other ways to add ones that aren't, like the Facebook Pixel one, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But the first thing you want to do is click Google Analytics, because we want to add that to work with Tag Manager. So you have two tag types you can choose from: Universal Analytics or Classic Google Analytics. Leave it on the Universal one because it's just more in depth. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click Continue. It's going to ask you to configure tag. Remember the code that I had you copy from Google Analytics, your property ID that I had you go under Admin and find? Well, that little tracking code, this is where you're going to put it. Now this is very important. See here, Enable Display Advertising Features. And if you mouse over the help, it'll tell you it's about demographics and remarketing with Google Analytics and other stuff. You want to have this checked. Very, very critical. If you don't do this and you don't have this set up for Google Analytics, you can't do retargeting campaigns through Google and through their network. So this needs to be checked. Track type, you want to leave page view. It's the default. Don't mess with these other settings. Just like Google Analytics, it's very, very in-depth of what you can do at a granular level. Some enterprises use this, when they have like millions of product pages. A lot of stuff you can do, but don't mess with it for now. You can learn about it later and try to do some more advanced stuff, and we'll cover some of that stuff later in the course, but don't mess with that for now. So then you click Continue. And now it says choose one or more triggers from the following types: all pages, some pages, click, form, more. So when it says fire, when it wants to fire the tag, it just means when it's going to track data. Well, we want to track data on all the pages. So you want to highlight that, and we're having it fire on all pages. See, like it says, you can create exceptions. There's some interesting things you can do with the advanced level features for this stuff. But again, we'll get to some of that later. For now, let's keep it basic. So we're just going to fire the trigger tag thing on all pages, and then we create tag. So it says now you must name your tag. It's Universal Analytics. We can just leave that. We know it's Google Analytics, so we're saving it. And now after we've done that, now we have a tag that's created inside the container that we made in Google Tag Manager. Step 5 in our process, now that we've created that tag inside the container, is we have to actually publish it and make it live. So up here in the right-hand corner, you see this red button, Publish. It says Publish it now to make the changes live to your site. You can preview, debug. So once you have the code on there, you can come in here and click Publish, and it makes it active inside the container that will already be on your pages when you follow the other steps. So it's a success. They're now live. So we're done with that. That's step 5. And now for our final step, step 6, we want to go ahead and create another tag inside the same container that we created, but this time it's for that Facebook pixel tracking. So we go back to the home page here of our Google Tag Manager, the main dashboard under container. We click New Tag again, just like, remember we picked Google Analytics last time, but we're not going to do that this time. This time we're going to click Custom HTML Tag. And then when we do that, this Configure Tag thing comes up. What we're going to do is you're going to copy and paste the Facebook pixel code that you copy and pasted before when we were inside your Facebook account and we pulled that up. And I remember I told you to keep that code somewhere handy. Well, this is where you're going to put it. So you're going to copy and paste it into this box. Now, for this, you're going to go under Advanced Settings, and you'll see Tag Firing Options. Now, you want to set this to once per page. It's very important that you set that to once per page. So after that, you click continue. And now it says fire on what? All pages, some pages, just like before. You want to click all pages, and then you want to click create tag. And then you can give it a name. I would rename this Facebook Pixel. Save it. Now we just have to do this one more time. Remember the publish thing that we did when we added the Universal Analytics, which is Google Analytics. So we just say publish now, and it's done. Now we have added Facebook pixel tracking, as well as all the code that powers Google Analytics inside that little tag manager container. So once we put the tag manager container on our web pages, let's say it was already on there. That's how we're now able to come in here and add other little things to track using that same code. That's the purpose for this. So it makes it convenient. You don't have to have someone keep editing your HTML pages and doing things like that. You can then add other types of tracking inside Google Tag Manager. Now, to sum this up, this is why this is important that you set this up. There are more and more ad networks being created all the time. There are more and more types of advertising opportunities that are tracked with very similar technology. We're going to start seeing all these social media platforms, all these other types of large companies online kind of doing their own version of this, because they all know how powerful retargeting is and remarketing is. And you can't do that stuff without a system like this. That's why Facebook is very advanced with their ad platform, and they can do it with their pixel tracking. And that's, of course, why Google, the biggest ad network on the internet, can do it using Google Analytics. And with that display advertising feature, was it engaged, that I show you to enable on the settings, that allows you to then do the remarketing and retargeting through Google's network. So we're going to start seeing more and more and more of these companies come on board that have similar technology, and we're going to have to add these tags and tracking to our pages in order to work with them in the near future and, of course, down the road. So Google Tag Manager, they were already thinking ahead on all this. They know this is all happening. So you want to have a system like this set up to make it easier to manage all of these things, and of course have finite controls over each of these technologies, what pages it fires and works on, what it tracks, what it does. So this tag manager is actually very, very powerful for giving you control over tracking different types of things. And later in the course, we're going to talk about why you need to track different things, which ones you may not want to based on your business model and how your business is set up. So it's important to have these controls. So even if you've been marketing online for a while and you have Google Analytics on your pages, you may have the old analytics and not Universal Analytics, so it's something to look into. Or if you've done Facebook advertising before, I highly recommend, if you're not yet using Google Tag Manager, that you follow these steps, move those bits of code over to this, and put the Google Tag Manager code on your pages in place of your other Google Analytics code and your individual Facebook pixel code. Manage it through Google Tag Manager rather than doing it all individually and loading up a bunch of bloated code on your web pages.